What is going on to the AMC stock group and to the AMC community? Whether you are an investor or a trader, doesn't matter. Every single person that participates in this movement is greatly appreciated. Now, today's video, we are going to be answering the extreme important questions for why AMC stock is down today, which is Monday, August 2nd. And so there's actually a lot of important information that relates to the time of AMC stock. Time is the most important variable right now for AMC stock, believe it or not. Why is time so important during, the month of August? Well, not just because the month of August, the seasonality is not the best, it's not the bullish for a lot of stocks, but it is also because right around the corner, we have earnings for AMC stock. And so what are the hedge funds doing right now? I'm not saying that this is 100% because of the hedge funds, but I will say that the price going down, if we know that 80% of the retail traders own AMC stock, however, 60% of the price action is controlled by the hedge funds, who do you think is really in control of the AMC stock price? Most likely it is the hedge funds. I'm not saying it's 100% of them, but I am saying that the hedge funds definitely have somewhat and to some extent some control of the AMC stock price. And so usually when there's earnings for any underlying equity, let's take the example for PayPal, right? Because PayPal, right before the earnings, it ended up going extremely high. I believe it ended up going to around $310. And if you understand this concept, you guys will know that what is going on with AMC stock right now is no worries whatsoever. This has nothing to do with the AMC share price or the fundamentals. It has everything to do with the time catalyst. That's why I said time is the most important variable for the stock right now. And so with time, what do I mean by that? We have earnings this week. Some people are saying that the earnings is on August 3rd, whereas other people are saying that it is on August 5th, and then some people are saying that it is August 9th, which would actually be next week. Regardless, it doesn't matter as long as you know why AMC stock is falling. That should be enough to build your conviction back in the stock, and so you guys do not have that fear, the uncertainty, and that doubt. Because trust me, guys, when the AMC stock movement decides to get just a little bit weaker, because let's say there's some disagreements, let's say that there's a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt because the share price decides to go down, that right there is when the hedge funds will step in and they will try to capitalize off of your uncertainty and doubt, etc., etc. They do this all the time, and this is exactly how they sell shares in such high quantities and make an extreme amount of money. Now, I'm not saying, again, I already said this at the beginning, but I just want to say it again. It is not 100% on the hedge funds because we also have to understand that the IWM, which is the small cap index for AMC stock, right? For a lot of these small cap stocks, that index fund actually ended up going down on the day today. So don't worry, we will also be talking about the chart for AMC stock. But again, the earnings date should be on August 3rd of 2021. If not, it'll be August 5th. And if not, it'll be August 9th. But in my opinion, I think the earnings will actually be on August 3rd or August 5th. I don't think that it will be on August 9th because August 9th is going to be when the AMC CEO, the AMC administration, the AMC moderation, they will be talking to the AMC retail traders to answer any questions that the AMC retail traders have. So therefore, it doesn't make a lot of sense for the earnings to be on August 9th. Now, if we try to understand what are we looking for AMC stock, well, we need, because we have that earnings rundown right now, the example that I gave with PayPal, PayPal had an insane run up to the upside before earnings. It went all the way to 310. And then what happened when they released earnings? Their earnings was actually pretty good. They did not do the best, but it was actually pretty good. And so what happened on earnings or after earnings? They ended up decreasing. They are now at $275 a share. This is not normal. And so for a blue chip stock like PayPal, that should not happen. It can definitely fall, but going from $310 to $275 just because of earnings really should not be happening. But this is what I'm talking about, the time catalyst. This is what happens to stocks. If a blue chip stock has the ability to fall that much because of earnings, what do you guys think AMC stock can do after earnings or even on the day of earnings? That's why you guys should not be fooled by the price action that AMC is going through right now. I'm not saying 100%. No one can guarantee you that AMC stock is going to go up after earnings because we do need to understand how is AMC stock doing fundamentally as a company. The reason why PayPal ended up decreasing after earnings, even though they did have somewhat of a good earnings and somewhat of a good fundamentals for that quarter of 2021, some metrics of the PayPal valuation did not make sense to some investors. So therefore, they decided to sell PayPal. And that is also what added to the price fall in PayPal to go from $310 to $275. So AMC stock, if a lot of people get surprised by the fundamentals of how AMC stock decides to do for the quarter that ended around the end of June, I think that AMC stock should have a nice increase in share price to the upside. If AMC stock really wants to increase in share price, and you guys already know, this stock does not care about what the entire market is doing. This stock will go up in share price with or without all the other stocks. For example, if AMC stock goes up, it doesn't mean that Tesla will go up. If AMC stock is down, it doesn't mean that Apple will go down. AMC will do whatever it wants to do because it has a powerful retail trader momentum. So we have the consensus EPS forecast, or in other words, the general earnings per share forecast. What do a lot of investors think AMC stock will fundamentally have on their balance sheet? They think that they are going to be having a negative 96 cents EPS forecast. And so if AMC stock decides to beat this EPS forecast, I think that AMC stock will have a high probability of already just right after they announce that they end up beating earnings, this stock will probably go up. And so why am I saying that if they end up beating earnings? The reason why there is a possibility, and I think that there could actually be a high possibility that they end up beating their earnings. This is because before, AMC did not have a lot of retail momentum behind it. I'm not sure if a lot of you guys remember, AMC stock, the CEO, they made a lot of compromises with the AMC retail traders. The AMC CEO, Adam Aron, he knows exactly what he is doing. And there are even some investors saying to hold this stock based on 8 investor ratings. Even the investors that are saying that you should hold AMC stock, they have a neutral sentiment on AMC stock, which neutral for the investors, definitely going to be good for the AMC retail traders because any sort of investors that have high positions in the financial world, they are going to help the stock because they are going to add more conviction for their AMC retail traders. And it is also not going to be the best for the hedge funds that obviously have a bearish sentiment towards this stock. So it is going to be the investors and the retail traders versus the hedge funds and anyone else that is bearish, or in other words, betting against this stock. So the EPS forecast, the reason how these investors end up predicting what AMC stock is going to have on their balance sheet, it is quite simple. All they do is they decide to understand how AMC stock did in the previous quarters, and then they make their expectation based on some other variables. However, I do not think that the investors that decided to have their earnings per share forecast for AMC stock, I believe that they are missing one variable. And this variable is something that the retail traders understand, but I don't think the investors understand it quite yet. Do you guys remember Adam Aron? He decided to give free popcorn, and this was actually building connections with the AMC retail traders. And he ended up having a lot of dilution for the AMC stock, which ended up being reinvested back into the AMC company. So with all that being said, we have more people going to the AMC theaters. We have more money flowing into AMC stock. What does that do? That builds the balance sheet. A lot of AMC retail traders were not happy when Adam Aron decided to do a dilution. But what is this dilution going to do for the new quarter, which is actually going to be announced sometime this week or next week? I think that it is going to be extremely positive for AMC stock. And I think that the investors who end up having this forecasted EPS, I don't think that they are including that variable where Adam Aron had a lot of connections with the retail traders. And do you guys remember how everyone was talking about AMC stock and they went to AMC theaters to support this movement? I think all that bullishness will be on the AMC balance sheet for this quarter, but I don't think the AMC investors understand it yet. And when I mean AMC investors, I'm talking about the people who end up having this forecasted earnings per share number for AMC stock. I don't think that they're understanding one major variable for this stock. And so let's go ahead and try to understand what ended up happening in the previous quarters, because this is what the AMC investors do to try to make their future expectations for the quarter over quarter growth or for the forecasted EPS for any underlying equity. So on June 8th of 2020, AMC stock had their earnings and their earnings were not good, even though the investors were actually bullish about AMC stock. On August 5th of 2020, the estimated earnings per share by the investors were $4.34 to a negative. However, the reported was slightly worse. It was negative $5.38. Not the best on AMC side. However, it will get better because on November 1st of 2020, this one was not the best either. The estimated earnings per share by the investors was negative $4.85, but the reported earnings per share was negative $8.41. Okay, and I think that this should definitely get better and better. So right over here, it does end up getting better, as I said, because in November, it was negative $8.41. However, it ended up decreasing to negative $4.59. Definitely a good side for AMC stock. And in May of 2021, it gets better, guys. The estimated earnings per share, the investors thought it was going to be negative $1.33. However, the reported was negative $1.42. Still worse than what the estimated earnings per share was by the investors. However, better if you compare it to all the way in the quarter one of 2020, which was negative $20.88. You compare negative 20 all the way to negative $1 roughly, and that is much better. Definitely improvement for AMC stock. It is going to completely surprise everyone, or at least that's what I think in my opinion. Remember, I'm not a financial advisor. And so what is happening right now? The estimated earnings per share is negative 96 cents. Honestly, if AMC stock decides to do a little worse, than what the estimated earnings per share is, I don't think that'll even negatively affect AMC stock because the retail traders will understand that AMC stock is doing better, and who knows, maybe other investors will also realize that AMC stock is doing at least better than what it ended up having in 2020, where it was negative $20.88 for the earnings per share. And let's say their new earnings per share is going to be, let's say, $1.20, still much, much better. So in my opinion, the reason why AMC stock is falling today, and it may even continue to fall just before the earnings, is because we are having the earning run down right before the stock actually announces earnings, and then once the earnings ends up having an announcement about what their earnings per share is, etc., hopefully the stock will have an increase in share price. Because if it was the opposite, let's say AMC stock decided to increase in share price before the earnings and then they release the earnings, that could actually mean that AMC stock would have a downfall after the earnings. So in my opinion, it's better to have this downfall right now, and then after the earnings, this share price will have an insane movement to the upside. Now with that being said, AMC stock group, thanks again for watching. I'll see you guys next video.